Shell gorgets are a Native American art form of polished, carved shell pendants worn around the neck. The gorgets are frequently engraved, and are sometimes highlighted with pigments, or fenestrated. Shell gorgets were most common in Eastern Woodlands of the United States, during the Hopewell tradition and Mississippian cultural period. However, tribes from other regions and time periods also carved shell gorgets. The earliest shell gorgets date back to 3,000 years BP. They are believed to have been insignia of status or rank, either civic, military, or religious, or amulets of protective medicine. Due to the placement of the holes in the gorgets, they are also thought to be spinners that could produce whistling sounds. Materials and techniques. Lightning whelk is the most common shell used for gorgets. Other shells, such as the true concha strombus, as well as freshwater mussels, are also carved into gorgets. Today, due to environmental causes, harvested lightning whelks are significantly smaller than in pre-contact times. These earlier shells typically ranged from 6 to 12 inches in length. Harvested off the coasts of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, the shells were traded through the Eastern Woodlands. This native trade continued into the 16th century. Gorgets are carved from the penultimate whorl of the shell. A blank is cut or broken out, then ground smooth. Holes for suspension and decoration are drilled, sometimes with a bow drills or chert drills. The gorget forms a concave shape and, when engraved, the interior is polished and decorated. While most gorgets are circular, some are shaped as rectangles with rounded corners, maskets, or other novel shapes. An extremely elaborate pendant from spiro mounds is shaped as two hands connected by a common beaded bracelet. Archaic and Hopewell, Adena cultures created gorgets from slate and copper, but the Hopewell exchange system brought exotic shells from the Gulf northward. Initially, Hopewellian peoples carved plain shell gorgets around 1000 BCE. Engraved gorgets appeared in the late Hopewell. A glacial came culture marine shell gorget from the Great Lakes dates from 1000 BCE and features an engraved bear or opossum with an umbilical cord. Mississippian. As Mississippian shell gorgets were traded widely, common designs have a widespread geographical distribution. Calusa people of southern Florida harvested and carved gorgets. Coiled rattlesnake gorgets were found among the Gwali Indians of Georgia. Mask gorgets, although rare, are found throughout the southeast, with the most prominent site clusters occurring in the Ohio River Valley, eastern Tennessee, and the Arkansas Delta, although finds have been found as far afield as North Dakota. The masks have bas-relief noses, drilled eyes, engraved drill mouths, and sometimes forked eye motifs as zigzags under the eyes. Small shell cameos, under 2 inches wide, were found at spiro mounds. Although dating is difficult in the current archaeological context, these masks are likely to be a later phenomenon. Although they are often found in sites that also produced 16th-century Spanish trade goods, they are entirely absent from classic man sites, which were active until the 14th century. Iconography on the shell gorgets comes from the southeastern ceremonial complex. Extremely common designs include the triskel, coiled rattlesnake, water spider, chunky player, and birdman, sometimes called a falcon impersonator. Native Americans, art historians, and anthropologists all have a wide range of often conflicting interpretations of the SECC iconography. Coiled rattlesnake gorgets were worn by young people and are believed to relate to age as opposed to status. The forked eye motif, commonly identified as markings from a peregrine falcon, references excellent vision and hunting skill among Muskogee Creek people. Strength Path of Life design is interpreted by F.D. Scott and Philip Deere as referencing a whirlwind and dancing movement. There are over 30 pre-contact examples of the Cox-Mound gorget style found in Tennessee in northern Alabama and dating from 1250 to 1450 CE. The Cox-Mound gorget style features 4 woodpecker heads facing counterclockwise, a 4-looped square motif, and a cross within a rayed circle. The 4-looped square, or guilloche, is considered by some to be a whirling sun motif, or a priestly, chiefly lit by some, the earth held up by cords to the sky vault at the 4 cardinal points, and by others, the path of life with 4 stages of maturity. Woodpeckers are considered warrior birds among Cherokee and medicine birds that can extract illnesses among Muskogee Creeks. The birds are also sometimes interpreted as the 4 winds. The rayed circle, a sun, is interpreted literally a deity or ancestors, council, and or sacred fire. The entire design could also illustrate the Yuchi myth of the winds. A gorget from the Castalian Springs man site in Tennessee features a man holding a mace and severed head. This has been interpreted by some anthropologists as a flying shaman. Some agreement can be found in interpreting the cross in circle design, which references the sun and the ceremonial fire, fed by 4 logs aligned to cardinal directions. Another design widely agreed upon is the water spider with a cross in circle design on its cephalothorax. The spider gorgets illustrate a traditional story, common to many southeastern tribes from the Atlantic coast to Missouri, about the water spider bringing fire to humanity. Historic gorgets, turtle shells and stones have also infrequently been carved into gorgets. In the 18th century, metal medallions replaced shell gorgets among Eastern tribes. In the late 19th century, women from tribes along the Colorado River, such as the Quechan, wore the fenestrated gorgets made from bivalve shells and strung on vegetal cordage. Contemporary Dam Townsend of Florida is the most widely recognized contemporary gorget carver. He is a self-taught carver but studied oral history under Seminole medicine woman Mary Frances Johns. He uses dental tools to carve shells with both traditional Muskogee Creek iconography and as well his own representational artwork. Muskogee Creek Cherokee carver neck.The Scott studied under tribal historians, traditionalists, and medicine men. Scott carved gorgets with purple freshwater mussel shell harvested from near Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Grady Smith from Florida draws on numerous sources for his shell gorgets, including designs from Calusa wood carvings.